Okay, so this is just going to be like a real quick rapid fire episode, me going through the schedule, predicting what's going to happen, putting some thoughts in there while I'm at it, and just overall just talking about what I think of the Tennessee Titans this next season and how will they do as a team. Again, going to be drinking a little bit out of this, mostly just because my throat will get sore pretty much, and also, I haven't really drinking a lot of water today, so I need to get that down. But anyway, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Titans Rundown. I am your host, Micah McCamey, and in today's episode, we are going to be talking about the Tennessee Titans 2025 schedule and my predictions for how the Tennessee Titans will do in 2025. I'll be honest, I went through this. I accidentally forgot that I did not hit the record button, so I went through this. You will be absolutely shocked at the amount of wins that I have the Tennessee Titans getting. But anyway, we don't need to get into that right now. We just need to talk about what's going on with the Tennessee Titans. So I want to highlight two specific things. First off, a Week 10 bye. Oh my gosh. Dude, that is the biggest thing that I could see happening for the Tennessee Titans. Just absolutely huge for the stamina of the players and for the better health of the players as well. And overall, I think that that's probably the best thing about this schedule. Another note is that we don't have any primetime games. Look, okay, am I upset that we didn't get any primetime games? Yes. Am I upset that we're the first team in 4 years to get the first overall pick, get a quarterback, and not have a primetime slot? Yes. But that doesn't mean that I am not still absolutely just ecstatic about the Week 10 bye. I think that not having a primetime game was a small price to pay for that late bye. So those are just my thoughts on that, and those are really the only things I gotta highlight. But also the schedule release video came out, and honestly, I think that's really creative. It's not like revolutionary or anything, but it's a really solid schedule reveal video. Like, it's not groundbreaking like the last few or anything like that, but I think that it is really, really fun. And honestly, I come from a pharmacy family, so I'm going to have good thoughts about it no matter what. Mostly just because, local pharmacy is kind of against those live TV commercials, especially my family, because they think it more so preys on people's desires than it does them actually getting help. But anyway, you're not here to listen to me talk about medicine. You're here to listen to me talk about the Tennessee Titans 2025 schedule. So let's get into that. Here we go. Let's take a look at this schedule. Okay, so I've only had time to think about the first two games. I haven't thought about the rest of the schedule. So, apart from the last time that I was trying to record. So, anyway, let's get into this recording. All right, Week 1, we have Denver at Mile High. Okay, so let me get a drink before I do this one. Okay, so this game, I think that we lose this game Week 1. I really don't like the mentality that the Titans are going into with the first 2 weeks, at least the fans, that is, because they're, moping and doping about how terrible this is, about, oh, it's a challenge the first 2 weeks, really bad start for the Tennessee Titans, I really just hate this. I hate this team. But at least for me, looking at this schedule, honestly, I really could not care less about these first 2 weeks, right? I actually think that we're going to be shockingly competitive these first 2 weeks. Specifically for the Broncos, don't be surprised if we put up a decent competition, because Cody Barton knows that defense inside and out, and that will be especially helpful for rookie quarterback Cam Ward debuting in his first ever Tennessee Titans game. Oh my gosh, that still feels weird to think about. But anyway, again, this is a really solid first test for Cam Ward, though. He goes in the Mile High. He goes to play a really good Denver Broncos defense, and I think that we end up losing this game. I think it's a competitive loss, though, and I think we end up having like a 21-17 type game in favor of the Denver Broncos. But I think that Cam Ward shows some flashes. Not like so much to the point where, it's a shootout or anything, but I do think that he shows some of that stuff that he needs to. But I don't think he has like an amazing game. I think that this will be a great welcome to the NFL experience. Show him that, hey, this isn't college anymore. All right. Week 2 against the Rams, first game in Nashville. Whew, man, I don't know how y'all are gonna feel about this, but I have us winning this game. Okay. There are some things that, there are some factors that go into this to me saying that this game is going to be a win for the Tennessee Titans. But mostly what it comes down to is that I just don't think the Rams are usually that good right at the beginning of the season. Like, I think that they end up starting the year pretty meh, and then they get like really hot at the end of the year, so they can go into the playoffs feeling good about their team, and then they get all this confidence, and and over the past 2 years, they've either A, kept it really competitive in the wild card round, or 2, won the wild card round, and again, kept it competitive in the second round. I'm still under the belief that if that game wasn't a complete blizzard, that they actually win that and go on to play in the Super Bowl. But that's neither here nor there. We don't need to talk about that. I think that Cam Ward has a really solid game here, and it's not going to be like, 3 touchdowns or anything, but I could see like a 2 touchdown, 1 pick game right here. Just like something really solid for him to build on. And I think that this is the biggest confidence boost here for the Titans, and Titans fans are going to be through the roof about this. I have this game as like a 24-20 game in favor of the Tennessee Titans. Okay, that leaves the Titans at 1-1 after the first 2 weeks. Honestly, for some fans, this is best case scenario, but for me, it's like the middle scenario. I see a universe where we start out 2-0, but that home field advantage early in the year for the Denver Broncos, that's just too much to overcome. So I think that 1-1 is probably what could end up happening here. 0-2 is very possible, though. I won't discount that. Okay, week 3, it's the Colts at the Titans. I think that Cam Ward and this Titans team get this done, and I think that Brian Callahan actually schemes up a really solid game, shows that he's finally learning and starting to make adjustments at halftime, and I think that he ends up having a very well coached game, but I think what's really going to stand out in this game is the defense. Look, our defense is not that great this year. I ain't going to hold y'all. The pass rush, almost non-existent. Secondary could be better. Linebacker court, don't even get me started on that. But let's talk about this. This game, both quarterbacks, no matter who they're starting, are absolute garbage. Just not that great. Really, really bad. Like, it's like last year, I remember I made this analogy, like, before, I think it was before the Texans game in Week 18, where I said picking between Mason Rudolph and Will Levis is like picking between 2 piles of feces, right? And, I feel that way about this quarterback room, and I think that's actually pretty similar to the Titans quarterback room last year. Young guy that showed flashes, but really hasn't put it all together, and the team is praying that he does. And then there's the veteran backup. Then there's the veteran that should probably be a backup and a career backup that sometimes has really good games starting, but usually ends up just not being that great. And that's what I think about this Colts quarterback room, and honestly, it's not going to lead to that much success for them, which has me believing that the Indianapolis Colts are going to get just crushed by the Tennessee Titans. I think this is a 24-7 win. Yes, I think this is the first blowout, or second blowout, in our favor at least, of the Brian Callahan era. That leaves Titans at 2-1 with a ton of momentum going into the rest of the season, right? Okay, week 4, Titans at Texans. Okay, I think that this game ends up actually being really competitive. I think that this is Cam Ward's first, really big game, and I think that this is the one that gains him a little bit of traction. But overall, I don't think this will be, but overall, I think that he will make a rookie mistake at the end that ends up costing us the game. But I think that this is the first 30-point game of the season, and I think that this is a 30-34 loss for the Tennessee Titans. Okay, that ends up leaving the Titans at 2-2. Okay, Titans at Cardinals. The Cardinals are on the uprise, right? Like, they started their first year under Griffin Murphy. They were 4-13. Last year, they were 8-9. This year, I mean, I don't know, man. They doubled their wins between 2 years. Maybe they go 16-1. But no, I do think that this team is going to end up actually being sneaky good this year. And I think that sorry, Jonathan Gannon. I am so sorry. I called him by the name of the New England Patriots Madden head coach for so long. Oh gosh. I did that in the last recording too. Jonathan Gannon. Sorry. My apologies. The dude that looks like Murph from Impractical Jokers. No, but I think his experience on the defensive side of the ball, I think that he takes advantage of Cam Ward. I think this ends up being probably one of the worst, this probably ends up being one of the worst losses of the Titans season. And I think we have like a 21-10 final score in favor of the Arizona Cardinals. That leaves the Titans at 2-3. All right, after a little bit of a losing streak, we end up going to Las Vegas. Honestly, I think that, again, Cam Ward has a pretty good game here. I think that the Raiders are more of a one more year type of team. Like, I think they're going to be fine this year. They're going to be competitive, being coached by Pete Carroll and all that. But I think that they just need one more year to get things fully figured out when it comes to being a good team. But anyway, and it could end up just being proven that Pete Carroll just really doesn't have it anymore. Both things could be true, but I have this game going 20-17 in favor of the Tennessee Titans. All right, that leaves the Titans at 3-3. Okay, New England Patriots. This game's interesting. I may need a drink for this one. Okay, this game. Oh, man. I think this game ends up actually being really competitive, obviously. I think that the players on the Patriots side are going to run through a brick wall for Vrabel. But on our side, I think that the Titans are going to want to run through a brick wall for the entire Titans organization, for Amy, for... maybe not Borgonzi because, well, Rand Carthen hired Callahan, but running through a brick wall for Amy, for Coach Callahan. Like, I think that this team is just going to want to absolutely prove to the entire world. Here's the thing. Vrabel's a good coach, but it was time to move on for the Tennessee Titans. And I think that will be proven in this game. I think this is one of those really hard-fought, pretty games that you see the Titans have sometimes. And I think this is like a 17-10 victory that goes in favor of the Tennessee Titans. I think that they outplay Vrabel in Vrabel Bowl. And I think that we take advantage. And one of the weakest parts of our team is that we don't really have a great pass rush, but the Patriots don't have a great O-line. So if our pass rush can at least be serviceable in this game, then I think that we're going to be all up in Drake May's business all day. And I think that our defense, especially since it's blitz heavy, is going to be taking advantage of Drake May. And I think that we end up winning this game in an absolute gritty duel. And I think that Cam Ward leads a game-winning drive in cinematic fashion. That leaves the Titans record at 4-3. We have a winning record through 7 weeks. Not bad. Okay, next week, Titans at Colts. I know that I said that the Colts are going to be really, really bad this year, but division voodoo, I think that the Colts end up getting this win right here on some miraculous plays from Anthony Richardson, and this is one of their only wins of the season to me. Titans, I think, will fall a little short. I think that we'll go into this game coming off of this really emotional Patriots win and coming off of a really long road trip. I think that the Titans end up just losing this game and just kind of falling apart mentally. That leaves the Titans record at 4-4. Okay, next week it's Chargers at Titans. Okay, we're coming back from the road trip. I think that we'll be a little bit rejuvenated being back. And we have actually a nice little streak of home games after this, including the bye week. But yeah, I think that this game ends up actually being a little bit closer than expected. I think that this ends up being a 20-27 game in favor of the Chargers, because I think that Cam Ward's going to have some rookie moments in this game, because Jesse Minter is just a really strong defensive mind. And again, this is a veteran roster with a really good quarterback and a very solid O-line, especially with their O-line being so good and our D-line being so bad, at least pass rush-wise. Like, I think that this ends up being a competitive loss, but actually, I don't think this will be a competitive loss. I think that this will be more so of a 27-13 type of game where, like, a touchdown gets thrown in, like, the last few seconds of the game whenever the game is already lost at that point, right? Okay. Next game is Texans at Titans. I think this is the game that proves to the entire world, hey, look, okay, you've been disrespecting us for so long. We get it. We've not been good the past couple of years, but this is our time. This is the game that I think that the Titans prove to the world that Callahan and Ward are here to stay. Cam Ward puts on his magnum opus thus far in his career, his signature win, Callahan's signature win, and I think the Titans win this game 34-27. And I think that we actually have a pretty decent defensive performance against CJ Stroud in this game. All right, moving on to the next week. The Seahawks go up against the Tennessee Titans. Again, another emotional win for the Titans. Oh, wait, hold on. That leaves the Titans' record at 5-4, by the way. Winning record through the first half of the season, that's not half bad. Oh yeah, we'll also be coming off of the bye week for the Texans game, which I think is just absolutely huge. I think coming off of the bye week, we'll be nice and rested and rejuvenated and feeling like let's kick some Texan tail. But anyway, going back to the Seahawks game, I think again after another really emotional win for the Titans, I think that they kind of have a little mental lapse in this game. I think that this ends up being like a 21-10 game in favor of the Seahawks. I think that Mike Macdonald, again, like with the Chargers, another Harbaugh defensive coordinator, who would have thunk it? Really strong defensive mind, again, really innovative defensive mind. I think he's going to throw some things at Cam Ward that confuse him, and it ends up leading to the Seahawks getting this win. Even with as meh, I think the Seahawks are going to be this year, I think that they end up beating the Titans. Okay, Jags at Titans. I think that in this game, the Tennessee Titans come into Nissan, and everybody's talking about how Travis Hunter is going to prove why he should have been the number one overall pick. All the national media headlines are preparing for like you should have picked him first overall and all this stuff. You know, they're going to be ready just for the Titans just get plummeted by the Jacksonville Jaguars. But then the game actually happens, and I think this is going to be a 28-17 big victory for the Tennessee Titans. Cam Ward puts on a really, really good game and screams into a camera, "That's why I was first overall." Maybe with a little bit more profanity in it. But still, I think that this is just going to be one of the biggest games that Cam Ward has in proving, hey, there's a reason I was the first overall pick and he wasn't. Right? December 7th, next week. Oh, I believe that leaves the Titans record at, oh man, hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna try and look at this. Just give me 1 second. So after going through it, I have the Titans record so far in the season at 6-6. We'd be bowl eligible in college, but that's not how this works. So again, I think this is one of the bigger wins for the Titans, but then we move on to Titans at Browns. Okay, again, as much as I want to go with the storyline here of like Cam Ward goes in and he just demolishes this team and like he plays against Shedeur Sanders, and Shedeur throws like 5 picks or something stupid like that, and Cam Ward has this 4-touchdown, just grandiose type of game. I think Cam Ward struggles in this game because Myles Garrett's going to be coming off of the edge. Combine that with also the secondary being really solid, great defensive coordinator. I don't know. I just don't see this game happening. I think that this ends up being like a 17-7 win for Cleveland. And this is going to be probably Cam Ward's worst game of the year. I can feel it. All right. Next week after that, that also leaves the Titans record at 6-7. Next week is Titans at San Francisco. I think that San Francisco pulls this win out. I think that they're a little bit banged up at this point in the season, which ends up leaning in favor of the Titans, but I just don't think they'll get it done. I think that this will barely be a loss, and I think that this is like a 31-24 loss for the Titans. I think Cam Ward has a pretty solid game in this one again. I think that we end up seeing competitive shootouts in these last couple of games, and that leads to the Titans barely losing to the San Francisco 49ers. Okay, so far I have the Titans record at 6-8. Next week we play the Chiefs. Okay, so Kansas City. I think that this ends up being one of those games where Cam Ward proves that he can actually do good things against good defensive minds, because like he struggled against defensive minds at this point, but I think that we're going to see a almost fully evolved Cam Ward in this game, and I still think that we lose, but I think it's going to be like a really big shootout. Like I'm talking like 30-34, because again, this Titans defense is just so bad. That I think that ends up losing us this game. So that leaves the Titans record at 6-9. Next week we play the Saints. I think that's a win. Don't think I need to explain too much, but I will. Well, let's just be real. The Saints roster is just absolutely dog water. Absolutely terrible, awful team. Worse than even we may have been last year, and that's saying a lot. And just really, really bad team overall. And first-year head coach, terrible quarterback play. Yeah, no, this is going to be a win for the Titans. I'm not going to say the score of this one, but I do think it'll be a blowout. And final week, going into this at 7-9, Titans at Jags. I think this ends up being the first game that Cam Ward plays in prime time. I think that the Jags are 8-8. They're looking for that last playoff spot. The Titans are at 7-9, hoping that they can actually take away the playoff spot from the Jags so that way they can laugh at them in the offseason. And I think, again, Cam Ward just haunts, and I mean haunts, this Jacksonville Jaguars team. And I think that he ends up putting up a huge game to end the year and breaks every single heart of the Jacksonville Jaguars fan base, thinking we could have been in the playoffs this year, but we lost it. So I think the Titans win this game, and my final record prediction for the Tennessee Titans, at least looking at the schedule for the first time, I have them going 8-9. Call it optimistic, call it whatever. I think that this is going to end up being a very big step forward for the Tennessee Titans, and I think that Cam Ward, especially at the tail end of this season, puts the team on his back, and people are thinking, hey, look at the Titans, man. Obviously, nobody in the national media is going to talk about it, but all the other people, like the actually chill people in the NFL community, like the Tom Grossi's of the world, those types of analysts, those types of YouTube guys that talk about the teams, I think that they talk about, hey, man, the Titans just need a couple more defensive pieces, maybe one more really good receiver, and we're talking about a really good football team next year. So I think that this ends up being a shockingly good season for the Tennessee Titans, and we show the world, hey, we're going to be a problem next year. But anyway, that's it for today's episode. I have Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok all under the Titans Rundown. If y'all want to go check those out. This video/episode is being released on a Thursday. Usually I release these on Wednesdays, but the only reason I'm releasing it on a Thursday this week is because it would have felt really weird recording an episode that is completely different from what's actually really going on this week. And overall, again, I just believe that even though I usually like to get my recordings on Mondays or Tuesdays, it just felt right to talk about the schedule this week. So anyway, that's going to do it all for me. This has been a rundown of your Tennessee Titans 2025 schedule. I love y'all, and tighten up.